Hey guys, Gathering Magic back again, and this is part 2 of the Market Watch for October 20th, 2024. So we're going to start like we always do with Alpha. So these are the Alpha Common cards. So you can see the lowest price cards are 39.40. So we only have a handful, only these four under $1. And the rest of the commons range all the way up to $3.07 for the Silver Shield Warrior. Now this typically had been one of the cheapest commons. It had usually been, the bottom 2 or 3 along with the Minotaur Warrior. It had been a 35-40 cent card, but over the last couple months there's been a lot of buyouts of the Alpha Commons, and then all of these have been repriced higher. As you can see, there's very few available for sale, 9, 10, 8 copies, 7. So these have all been bought out and then relisted at a higher price. I'm not sure if it will happen again, where all of a sudden you're going to see these cards, go to 2, then 4, then 5. Eventually, over time, you may, but just wanted to point out, over the course of the Market Watch videos, how these prices, especially the older sets, can change very quickly. So you get used to cards being in a certain price range, and all of a sudden you check, and it's like, wow, that 30-cent card is now $3. What happened? Usually it's always just very low liquidity, and then someone comes in and just snatches them up. So 39 cents for the low end to 307 for your commons. Going to your rare cards. The low end had been 3, now it's down just under 2. Tyrus is one of the cards that I've kind of looked at being a summoner. Was $3 a couple weeks ago. It's come down a little bit to $2.43. And then on your higher end rares, you've got Ulrich, of course, at just over $4. And then Zentar looks like it had a buyout. There's only 10 copies available, and the cheapest is just under $12. Moving to your epics, and these I feel are underpriced. Consider the prices that your commons and rares are trending towards. You've got epics now only $3.50 to $6.50. So it seems like these should be a lot higher. Maybe these will trend higher in the coming weeks and months, but I think they will not get really much cheaper than they are right now. I mean, especially when you look at the rares being, 2 to 4 for the most part. These, 3 to 6 seems a little bit undervalued. So that's just my opinion. But like I said, maybe undervalued. And then as far as the legendaries go, Lord of Darkness is now, I believe, 3 copies of this, just under $20, all by the same seller. So it looks like Steam Dan listed these earlier. I'm not sure why he listed these $10 cheaper than the next cheapest. If I was him, I would have taken these off the market, maybe put them at 28 or 27. You don't want to undercut yourself too much unnecessarily, but maybe he's just looking to liquidate and wants to sell these quickly. But I think that's a good price. In case you guys didn't know, you don't need 3 copies of this to level it to 2. For alphas, you only need 2 copies of a legendary to go from level 1 to 2. And you only need 8 copies overall, not 11. So that is something to keep in mind if you're looking to pick up legendaries from Alpha. Okay, moving on to the gold foils, which I believe are just absolutely beautiful cards. I mean, there's no doubt, Tom, that these are the gold foil versions. The one thing I'm not really a big fan of with Rebellion is it's really hard on some of the cards to tell if it's gold foil or not. With these, there's no doubt. You look at them, that gold foil just pops everywhere. The low end of these 2 weeks ago was just over $10. Now they're up to $14.15, all the way up to $816 for the Silver Shield Knight. For your rares, you're looking at $49 for Zentar, which isn't that kind of funny. It was the most expensive rare, but it's the cheapest rare gold foil. And then up to $980 for the Frozen Soldier, only a single copy. Your epics, $280 for the Naga Warrior, up to $4,000 for the Magi of the Forest, only 56 in circulation. And then finally, the legendaries. One of the cards has disappeared since I did the first part of the Market Watch earlier today. That card is, I believe, Lord of Darkness. That was $2,300. That card either sold in the last few hours or was taken down, because that was up and has been up for quite a while for $2,300. It is now gone. So now you have Selenia Sky for $12,000 and the Elemental Phoenix still sitting there at $155,000. Looking at your promo cards. So for your promo cards for Alpha, There is no legendary available for sale. The common spiked up to just under 20 bucks. The rare is still sitting at just under 15, and the epic is sitting at 45. And for the gold foil versions, common is at 42. The rare has jumped from, I think it was, 119 up to 357. Only single copies of all these available, and of course the epic for just under $1,000. So that is it for alpha. Moving on to beta. The big news with beta last week, if you want to call it big news, was just that the low end of all the commons had jumped up to 12 cents was the minimum price. This week, as you can see, there's been a lot of copies that are now listed for sale under 12 cents. Anywhere from 4 to 6 cents for the low end has been kind of the low end range for beta commons. For the core set and the reward cards, all the way up to your high end card is now the Feral Spirit, sitting at 72 cents. For your rare cards, you're now looking at 22 cents for Boogeyman, all the way up to the most expensive card. You would probably guess is Ulrich, but I don't know if you would guess that it's under $2. So this seems like a very good price. Like I said, the alpha Ulrich is usually 4 to 5. So a beta being, under 3, I think is a pretty good deal. So there are several copies of these that are under $2.50. You need 3 of these to get to level 2. You need 11 of these to get to max silver. So not quite as good as like I said, an alpha legendary where it only takes 1 additional card to get to level 2. But still, you don't need as many cards in beta to level these up. If you're looking to pick up a beta Elric, this would be a great time. Epics, so your low end epic Spirit Shaman is sitting at 61 cents. All the way up to Kiara Lightbringer Summoner, sitting at $6.46. 5 copies available, but only one is as a single, or actually it's a 2 BCX. So 2 BCX for $6.46. You need 46 of these, of course, to have max level, but you only need 11 to be decently high and to be a level 4 card. And let's move on to the legendaries. So 425 for Fallen Spectre is your cheapest legendary for beta. All the way up to, look at this, Voldemort. I can't remember the last time I saw a single copy of Voldemort under $100. So there are 3 copies available for $99. And then after that, then it jumps to the multiple BCXs. We're going to spend 170 for a level 2. You're going to spend 286 for a level 3. There's 450 for a level 2, and then you have 5 max level copies, ranging from $620 to $975. But some of the key cards to look at in the set that I think are kind of underpriced, Prince Renan for $13.50. Really? This card has been up in here, the $25 to $35 range. So this seems very, very, very attractive price. Cryptmancer I've seen bouncing around anywhere from 25 to 50. So 24 is a little bit of a deal, not a fantastic deal. And look at this, a beta Lord of Darkness is 27.50, but the alpha is what, 19.25. So that's one of the reasons I said that alpha card is very underpriced. And hopefully someone snatches it up pretty soon, because if they don't, I think I might. Kraken under 10, great card. Ruler of the Seas sitting at 11. Lord Arianis just over 11. So for me, the big takeaway is a Voldemort under $100 and Prince Renan for under 14. That's kind of, I think, a hidden gem for this week. Now let's move to the gold foils. So moving on to the gold foil commons. The cheapest common is still going to cost you almost $2. Baby Unicorn at $1.84. All the way up to what? $90 for Rexy. This was obviously a buyout. There's only 4 copies available. More realistic range is probably $18 to $20 for a high-end gold foil. Going to the rares, $6 low end for your rares. Scroll slowly so you guys can kind of see how many are in circulation, how many are in the market. $25 for a gold foil chicken. $20 for gold foil Ulrich. Does not seem too unreasonable. $50 for Malric Inferno. So once again, only 2 copies available, sitting at 50 bucks. I would put the value of these swapped. I would put Malric more in the $20 range and Alric probably more in the $40 to $50 range. Gold foil epics, 28 bucks for the brownie is the cheapest, all the way up to, you've got your summoners up here, right around the $240 to $250 range. And you can see only 2 copies of each of these available. And then for your gold foil legendaries, your cheapest is $160 for gold foil beta legendary card, up to Peak Rider. Really, this is the most expensive, $3,450. And Volnamore, this card I've seen $2,000 to $3,000 range. So to see it at $1,250, yes, that is a lot of money, but that is the cheapest that I have seen it by far. I mean, that's $1,000 cheaper than I think I've seen it before. So just so you guys know. Not saying it's a good deal, not saying you should go out and buy it. I'm just saying that this is the cheapest I've seen it by far since I've been doing the Market Watch. Okay, so after that, let's go to promo cards. So as I mentioned in part 1, Delwyn, this was probably maybe 2-3 months ago, had been bouncing around between 75 and 90 cents. Then he had the big price dump all the way down to, I think, 21 cents. Rebounded 2 weeks ago up to 90 cents. Now he's up to $1.20 per BCX. I want to see how many are available. There's quite a few. $1.20, then you're getting into the $1.40 range. And then after that, you're moving up into multiple BCXs. How many max copies are available? So there are 4 max copies available, but you're looking to spend anywhere from $90 to $95 for a max copy. That's it for Delwyn. The rare Dragonwing Bowman has stayed right around 60 cents. Harpy at $3, Red Dragon at 18, Prince Julian 1700, and Archmage Arius, big price spike up to almost $4,000. And then your gold foil versions, as you can see here, Delwyn is just over 11, Dragonling at 25, Fiendish Harpy at 40, and none of the gold foil legendaries from beta. Okay, so since we're here, let's just go to orbs. Orbs, of course, a very small set. You can almost look at the entire page of orb. This is it, 12 cards. So your commons range from 6 to 12 cents. Your rares 22 to 36, seems about normal. Your 2 epics, just over $1. These at some point have fluctuated up to $2 to $3 per copy, but typically they're between $1 and $1.50, so this seems about right. And then for your legendary cards, they're usually anywhere from $6 to $12. So right now, Minotaur Warlord is at 8, Lord of Fire is at $11.70, and Corrupted Pegasus is 12. And for your gold foil versions, as you can see, there's only 9 of the 12 gold foils listed here. All 4 of the commons are listed. The high-end common is sitting at 10 bucks. Your 3 rare gold foils are between $7.50 and just under $10. There's none of the epic gold foils, neither of those 2, and only 2 of the 3 legendaries. This has been pretty consistent for the last couple months. Minotaur Warlord for $700, and then your single copy of Corrupted Pegasus at $1,400. And then you can see how many are in circulation for these gold foil legendaries. 39 and 52, so extremely rare cards. All right, so we've moved from orbs. Let's go to Untamed. Let's actually start with dice since it's another small set. Very quick to go through. So for your commons, pretty much 2 to 15 cents seems normal for the commons. Naga Brood at 25. This normally should be like a 5 or 6 cent card. So this one is way overpriced for some reason. Rares, which are the summoners, the ones everyone wants to watch. Mylor has reclaimed the top spot. Recently, Ouster had jumped above him for a week or so. Bright and Bloom had jumped above him. Lorna Shine is pretty much always number 2 or number 3. So you can see these 2 are just above $1 per BCX. Oyster is still sitting at 82. Bright and Bloom 51. And Nobody Loves Vera. She's sitting there at the low price of 9 cents. Epics, this is pretty much standard, just under 50 cents to around 70 cents for your epics. And then your legendary cards, Lens Master is usually the cheapest, you know, right around $3. Crowless, I've seen as low, I think I've seen it under 20, 25. And then I'm trying to remember, I think 2 weeks ago it spiked to like 40 or 50, and I was like, what the heck? And now it's at 39. So this is still kind of high for where it is. Very, very good card, as you guys know. And then Epona is usually always the most expensive card in the set. She sets between $50 and $65, so that's about the normal price for her. Looking at the gold foils, so your commons range from about 50 cents to $1.70 for the battering ram. Gold foil rares, which are the summoners. Mylor, I did pick up one for what, $10 a month or two ago. I thought that was incredible. Then he spiked to, I think, $99 for a single copy. Now he's down to 20. Bright and Bloom, you can see, has jumped up to almost $30 for a BCX. The one card I think is just an absolute steal is Lorna Shine, a gold foil Lorna Shine for $6. You're telling me that she's only $1 better than a gold foil Vera? I don't think so. So this card I think should be, I would say, at least 15 to 20, right in the Mylor range. So very good price, very underpriced. Let me see how many are available. 2 copies, one at 6, one at 7, and then you've got a 2 BCX one for 15. So, and then after that, your single copies go from $6-7 to 20. So that seems about right. So there's 2 good deals on the market, guys. If you guys are watching and interested in a Lorna Shine, let's go to Epics next. So for your Epics, as soon as the graphics will load, you will see they're sitting between $12 and $37 for the Dragon Spirit. This one seems a wee bit overpriced. And then finally, your legendary cards. Two Gun Pete is the high end at $500. Crowless sitting at $300, and no gold foil Eponas on the marketplace. Okay, so now let's go to just Untamed. We'll look at the Corn reward cards. So your commons, of course, are in that 1-2 cent range, all the way to, wow, 12 cents for Serpentine Spy is the second most expensive common. Then it jumps all the way to 70 for Failed Summoner. Now, I do agree that these are probably 2 of the best commons in the set, but I'm just so surprised to see a price difference like that. You know, if Serpentine Spy is 2 at 12, then why isn't Failed Summoner like 20? Or if Summoner 70 cents, this one should be, you know, maybe 25, 30 cents. So great price for the Serpentine Spy, but I think a bit too high if you're looking to pick up copies of the Failed Summoner. Let's look at the rares. So for your rare cards, 5-6 cents for the low end, up to Mother Kala, a summoner, for 14 cents. Contessa for 24, Pyre for 24, Drake of Arnik also for 24, Wizard of Eastwood for 28, Bortus for 42 cents, Shieldbearer finally rebounding, he's up to 43 cents, and surprisingly, the most expensive is not a summoner, it's the Tower Griffin for $1.88. Looking at your epic cards, 28 cents for the low-end epics from Untamed, all the way up to $4.70 for the Torsion Chief. And then for your legendary cards, $2 for the Spirit Druid Grog, all the way up to everyone's favorite cards. You've got Llama sitting at 28, Jodin at 32, and Kitty at an even 50. Kron had been as high as 30 2 weeks ago. Now he's down just under 15. And Cornelius has seen a bump too. I picked up a Cornelius 2-3 weeks ago, and I think it was just over $10. And I wanted one because I never had a Cornelius, and now I'm looking at it and it's almost 25. So pick that up at a good time. Now let's look at the gold foils. So starting with the gold foil commons, right around 50 cents is the low end for your gold foil commons. So you can pick up some great cards for under $1 if you're playing in Wild. 99 cents for the Serpentine Spy. That is an absolute deal. We looked in the regular foils. This one and Failed Summoner were the 2 most expensive. So I can see Failed Summoner being 480. I can't see Serpentine Spy being under $3. So 99 cents is a steal, guys, if you're looking to pick up a great wild card. Parasitic Growth, another great card, but $6, maybe a little bit much. Probably should be in the 250 range. Sandworm is another great card, being neutral and that 5 damage. So 284 seems about right for that card. So this one's a little bit overpriced, and that one I think is very, very underpriced. Moving to the rares. Got Bone Golem sitting at just over $2. Gold Foil Summoners, let's look at those. 227 for Contessa, 230 for Pyre, 250 for Mother Kala, under $3 for Bordis, so some great prices on Gold Foil Summoners. What else we got? Wizard of Eastwood for just over $4. Drake of Arnik for $4.50. Did I miss? I am not seeing Bordis. Do I not see him? Oh, there he is. $2.94. Okay. So those are your Gold Foil Summoners. And the most expensive one is the Princess at $11.50. That seems a little bit much. Unicorn Mustang, great card, $10. Okay. Going to the epic cards. So you've got Thunderbird at right around $10 for the low end epics. All the way up to $50 from Hero of Beyond, $49 for Sorcerer. And your gold foil legendary cards. $50 is your cheapest for Phantom of the Abyss. Fantastic card. I can't believe that is the cheapest one on the list. All the way up to, as I mentioned in part 1, there was a $1,000 card. It wasn't Kitty, it wasn't Llama or Jotun. Almo Cambio is sitting there, a single copy for $1,000. One Kitty for $700, one Llama for $500, 4 Jotuns at $475. Kron sitting at $160. Mimosa at $350. So those are some of your key gold foil legendary cards from Untamed. And for your promo cards, let's look at the regular foil and gold foil. So your Halfling Alchemist, the epic card is $1.60. Gold foil is still the same, still $100. Chain Golem came down a little bit to $7.80, and the gold foil is sitting at $60. And then the Mighty Dricken regular foil is sitting at $1,850. All right, so let's move to Chaos Legion. So the normal cards, normal foil, of course, you guys know with Chaos Legion, they printed so much of it, there's not going to be a whole lot of movement. It's very, very cheap. The only thing to really look at for this is just to see kind of where the Soulbound cards, where they sit. As I mentioned in part 1, they're pretty much 5 to 6 cents, so not a lot of movement in the commons. Your rares, your low-end rares are going to be right around 2 cents. All the way up to 8 cents for General Sloan, 9 for Obsidian, 10 for Tarsa, 14 for Thaddeus Brood, 15 cents for Akelia. And then, of course, your soulbound ones from Chaos Legion, you can see range all the way up to 25 cents a copy. For your epics, your floor is usually right around 9 cents. Yep, that is still the case. 9 cents for the Warlock, 10 cents for Jin Chwala and Temporal Master. And then it goes all the way up to pre-soulbound. Wave Brood is up to 40 cents. So this one's kind of moved up a little bit since earlier today. I believe it was in the mid-20s. So 40 cents for a Wave Brood is your most expensive epic from the core base set from Chaos Legion. Then you go to the Soulbound cards. You're looking at 91 cents to $1.10. And then finally your legendary cards. The floor is sitting at just under 50 cents for some of the reward cards. All the way up to, I always like to look at the legendary summoners. It just amazes me that there's a legendary summoner for $1.66. Even if it's not the best, it's like, wow. You can't tell me people are not going to want these cards in the future. You're looking at under $2 for Grandmaster Wraith, Quix the Devious for $2.25, $2.40 for Conqueror Yasik, Astral Entity, which I'm beginning to respect more and more that I come up against it, for just over $3. Possibilis $3.59, Lily just under $4. Immortalis right around 5. Great summoners and very, very affordable. And then moving on to the legendary Soulbound cards, $5 for Musa Celine, all the way up to just under 6 for a suit. And then let's look at the gold foil versions. So your cheapest gold foil, your commons, you're sitting at 12 cents. All the way up to some of your newer ones. The Soulbound ones sit at $1.05 for Wile E. Coyote, all the way up to $1.58 for the Firecaller. So other than the Soulbound ones, your key cards like Deep Lurker are still sitting at 44 cents. And the most expensive common for the longest time has continued to be Scavo Hireling at right around $1. And like I said, the Soulbound's basically $1 to $1.50. Your rares, you're sitting at right around 50 cents for the floor, for the Chaos cards, all the way to, I like looking at the summoners where they're at, so 85 cents for a gold foil summoner, $1 for Tarsa, just over $1 for Thaddeus Brood, $1.17 for Obsidian, Kelia for $1.78, and actually the Guardian has moved above Kelia for gold foil for the Chaos base set. Then you get to the Soulbound cards, of course they jump up in price because of the unlock cost, just under $5 all the way up to the Dragon Summoner, which is up to $12. And then my favorite cards for land, the gold foil Chaos Legion Epic cards. Great deals here, under $3 for a gold foil Epic. And as you guys know, you only need 10 of these to max one out and get 6,000 production points. So even if you can't max one out, even if you can only pick up a couple copies, 2 copies of this will give you about the same production point as a maxed out regular foil legendary card. So that is something to consider for basically the same price and for just a fraction of the DEC. So if you have 2 gold foil epics, that's only going to take 2,000 DEC to stake on land as opposed to 10,000 DEC for a maxed regular foil legendary card. So just something to keep in mind. So if you don't have any gold foil epics, now's your chance to grab, just a copy or 2 if you need it for under $3 a piece. And then for the newer, for the Soulbound ones that are unlocked, of course, the prices are going to be a lot higher because of the unlock cost. You're looking at basically $28 to $38 for a gold foil epic for those. And then for your legendary cards, $16, $17 is the floor for the gold foil Chaos legendaries. $19 for a gold foil summoner. Wow. Where are the other gold foil summoners going for? 25 for these, 27 for Quicks, 34 for Precibulus. Is there gold foil Immortalis? Wow, he's down there, just under 24. 45 for Lily, 59 for Jared Scar. So Jared Scar is the most expensive non-soulbound one. That's kind of interesting. Other than that, for your soulbound gold foils, you're looking at 108 for a suit, all the way up to 198 for Musa Celine. So this seems to be the normal range, just over $100 for the low-end legendary cards, up to just a dollar or two under 200 for the high-end ones. So that seems pretty consistent for the last few weeks. Okay, let's look at the promo cards. So the one big mover for the regular, for the common, was Vru's. He moved up to 23 cents. And then Oshur, as I mentioned in part 1, has usually been a $7 to $8 card, and now it has jumped up to 20. Zerial is now consistently sitting right out that $30 range. So the other cards are pretty much the same as where they were 2 weeks ago. And then for your gold foil, Vru's has moved from under $2 to $4.12. And Lux Vega is still sitting there at 3,000. Okay, let's move to Rift Watchers. So Rift Watchers, regular cards, 1 cent to 15 cent for the commons. For your rare cards, you're looking at 4 cents for the Techno-Wizologist, up to 32 cents for Queen of Crows. Then for your epics, which are your summoners, Aquatis and Dolan just can't get any love. 20 cents a piece there, up to $1.70 for Ilthane. There you can see the amount in circulation and the print run, or the amount on the market. And then for your legendary cards, $1.32 for the low end, all the way up to $35 for Inevitable. The one card also I wanted to mention is this, the Coral Lurker is kind of spiked in price. He had been down, right in this range, this area, anywhere $6, $7, $8. But in the last couple days, I don't know if there was a buyout or what happened, but now it's just under $20. So that is a card that has spiked recently. Now looking at the gold foil versions for your commons, 34 cents to $1.24. For your rares, you're looking at 71 cents for the watercolor, all the way up to $3.90 for the Queen of Crows. One card I think is a really great deal at this price is Tinderlock, sitting at basically $1.50. Then for your epics, which are your summoners, Dolan and Aquatis right around $2.70, up to $11.59 for gold foil Ilthane. And then for your gold foil legendary cards, $18 is the floor for Runemancer or Twat, all the way up to Inevitable. There is a single copy of Inevitable. You can see him here, and he's only $150. So this card had been priced, I believe, as high as $400 for a gold foil. So $150 doesn't seem too reasonable, and that is the highest priced card currently for Rift Watchers. Okay, let's wrap this up by looking at Rebellion, which cards really continue to hold their value, even though the packs really aren't selling very much. So we're going to look at just the core and the new reward cards. So your common cards range from 5 cents all the way up to your summoners, and this card has kind of spiked in price just in the last day. The highest price card had been right around 45 cents, but now Zedica, the cheapest one, is 59 cents. For your rares, you're looking at 10-11 cents for the floor, all the way up to $1.42 for the Moxian Rebel, just over $1 for Avina the Wolf, and Soothsayer sitting at 80 cents. So these are your top 3 rares. For your epics, 63 cents for the cheapest 2 epics from Rebellion. And then for the Soulbound cards, you would expect these to be the top 7, and most of them are. The Conqueror, Shock Trooper, Blade, Refugee, Weaver, Night Reaper, and Olivia the Brook, but Captain Fellblade is still the most expensive epic at $3.25. And then your legendary cards, just over $3 for your cheapest legendary. And I went through all of the main cards in part 1 and the prices, and just since I did the video a few hours ago, or actually a couple hours ago, Eternal Tofu went from 50 to 48. So this card has fluctuated wildly. I've seen it as high as $84 per BCX. Currently it's at 48. Definitely a card to keep an eye on in the coming weeks to see if there's more of a supply that comes on the market. If this price dips down, will it ever get in the 30s again? Time will tell. Nidhogger, the newest card, is sitting at 28. And then your gold foil for your commons, just under 50 cents for your cheapest gold foil common. All the way up to, of course, your soulbound cards are going to be a little more expensive. But Lurking Puffer is the most expensive. Only a single copy at $5. And then this is your soulbound one sitting there for $4.39. Looking at the rares, cheapest rare, $1.65, $1.68 for your rare cards from Rebellion. All the way to, so you can see Moxian Rebel at $7.79, but then you have a lot of the soulbound cards that are sitting, anywhere from $6 for the cheapest up to $12 for the Legionary. Next are your epics. Gold foil epics, $9 for the floor, all the way up to, let's see, $69 for Olivia the Brook. So the non-soulbound ones, looks like the most expensive is Paulus, sitting at just under 18. And then my personal favorite, you guys know, the Weaver, sitting there at 50. And then gold foil legendaries, $44 is the 4 for Zabane, Zabajin, and Lord Thanalor. All the way up to $550 for Eternal Tofu. And yes, this is for a single BCX. You can see there's only 5 on the market. Okay. So last but not least, let's look at the promo cards. Look at the regular foil. So the Madden Warden has dropped in price from 18 cents down to 12. The Enforcer is still sitting at 50. Night Stalker. Oh, this is one card I have to put on the on part 1 of the list, since this is one of the new promo cards. So I'll have to add him to the list so I can track him week to week. So he's here at 243. Vicar sitting at 249. Grimbarden Smith still sitting above 250. Baron Fiat 374. Mantaroth down from $50 to $32.50. Delia, this is another one I have to add to the list, $35. And Eleanor still holding at $43. This is where it was 2 weeks ago, still holding strong at 43. Then your gold foil versions, Mana Warden just above 2, Henchling Enforcer at 3, Night Stalker at 1220, Sanctus of Vicar sitting at 1839, Grimbarden Smith still sitting at 21. Baron Fiat has come down in the last couple hours. He was 62, I believe, earlier in the day. Now he's down to 54. Gold foil Delia at 298. Manaroth sitting at just under 500, and Eleanor Bravefoot is $500 again for the second week in a row. Okay, guys, there you have it. There is the entire market recapped for the Market Watch. Hope you guys found it useful. Hope you found some deals, maybe some cards that you've been eyeing and now's the time to buy. There are definitely a few cards here that I am going to pick up and buy, and that might be the next video that comes out. Will be my first episode of Splinterlands Market Buyout. So stay tuned for that very, very soon. Hint, hint. Take care.